We're having some trouble with our show mascot, Rudolph Dieselhead, who's becoming a bit intimidated by our new mascot, Lockjaw the dog. Hey, Steve Yanni here at Bernardston Auto Wrecking in Bernardston, Massachusetts, doing the Hubcap game. We usually do the junkyard crawl, but about every 7th day or so, we break into the magical Hubcap van and take a look inside. This is the 20th installment of the Hubcap game, so let's get started. Okay, this is, as we can see, a Plymouth wheel cover right here. I'd say about 1965, full-size Plymouth Fury 1, Fury 2, maybe Fury 3. A simple stamping with a plastic insert that's snapped and clipped in there, real simple like. 14-inch wheel. Yep, Plymouth right there. Speaking, well, okay, I was going to say Plymouth, but I'm thinking probably 1961 Ford Galaxy right here. Yeah, Ford somehow. This is a pretty uncommon wheel cover, but again, 61 Ford is my guess. 14-incher, one-piece stamping, nice clean shape. A little bit of detailing here with the flat black to make it look kind of like a spoked wheel, turbine wheel, but we know better than that. Okay, this may not look like much, but this is Mercedes-Benz. It's a 13, I think. And again, this would be the trim ring that would snap onto probably a 190, yeah, 190 Mercedes, and it would have a body-colored hubcap in here, chrome with body-color inserts. Mercedes-Benz stuff right here, possibly 220 stuff from the 70s, but it feels like a 13, so I'm going to guess it's probably a 190 series Mercedes-Benz trim ring. So only half of the wheel situation on a Mercedes right there. Okay, 1958, full-size Chevrolet Impala right here. You can see the flags, cross flags right there, Chevrolet's motif. And again, this would have been found on a full-sized Impala 1958, 14-inch wheel. And again, 58 was a year of 14-inch wheels. 1956, I believe, was the first year that the 15-inch wheel became a 14 on full-size Chevys because a smaller wheel allows a shorter profile from the side. And 58 right here, first year for coil spring rear suspension, first year for 348 option. A big deal right here. But this is the wheel cover from a 58 Impala. On the other side of the tracks, this is a wheel cover from probably about a 1966 or 7 Chevy 2. Basic stuff, often seen on the basic two-door sedan or station wagons. And again, very simple stuff, but a very pretty, effective deal. And I like the little argent paint that's done in here. It's not just one color. And this blacked out bow tie is kind of weird. Chevy bow ties are generally rendered in sort of a gold or a blue, but here it is in black, and that's the way these were done. Pretty austere, pretty cool. Less can be more. And here, Chevrolet Motor Division here, the opposite end of that scale, another fake wire wheel. This would be from like a 74 or so Impala, full-size car, and it's multi-piece construction. I mean, I gotta say, this probably was as expensive to make as an actual wire wheel. Not really, but it's just an elaborate thing. But I like how it's kind of functional. These slots that are pressed into the main stamping allow some of the heat to escape from inside the wheel, where they might otherwise kind of contribute to some brake fade. But again, it's a pretty convincing thing. And the center here with Chevrolet Motor Division kind of looks like a knockoff knob or something like that. But these are cool. 74 Impala or something full size right there. Seen them on wagons and stuff. These are optional. Good looking wheel cover, honestly. And proof that GM can't just let one thing do the job. This is Buick's take on a simulated wire wheel. We've seen these before on the Hubcap game, but here we have another one. Again, similar to the Chevrolet item, but not at all the same. They're similar, but not the same. And again, even the backs, everything about them is different. This is what you do when you're General Motors and you can afford to do everything 10 times. You know, that's all good. It's all fine with me. But again, the simulated wire wheels, the spokes on this thing even have like a little, the adjuster, the little tab thingamajig right there, which you would tighten up. But again, there's no screw on the back, doesn't do a damn thing. And here's where they just punch through and make look the part. But there's that. Keep going here. And okay, this is kind of interesting. This is a Mustang 2 hubcap right here. You see a little pony right there? 1974, 5, 6, 7, 8 Mustang 2. Not the base one. This would be sort of like from the Mustang 2 gear or something like that. It's a 13-incher. These were small wheels because, again, the Mustang 2 is based on a Pinto. It really was. But, again, this is seen on like the Charlie's Angels Mustang 2 in the Charlie's Angels TV series. Maybe not, but same idea. And then, oh, another 13-incher right here. Again, this is kind of weird. A 13-inch rim with a Buick logo? Buick is all about big cars. Well, not when you're talking about the Buick Special, which is what this is from. About a 63 Buick Special, which of course was Buick's version of the Pontiac Tempest, the Olds F85, and even the Chevy Corvair, believe it or not, was a cousin to these cars. Some of its platform was shared. These cars were not to be confused with the Chevy Nova, which was a whole different critter, the H-body. These were Y-body cars. But again, this is a 13-inch wheel, kind of looks like an aluminum brake drum, but it really isn't. But again, 1963 Buick Special right there. Maybe a Skylark. All right, inside. Oh, yeah. I love this. Full-sized Ford and this red lucite center. There's the Ford crown right there, the mark of Fordness. And this would be about a 66 or 7, probably a 67 full-sized Galaxy, maybe an LTD, probably a Galaxy. But again, I love the way that the multi-spokes kind of looks like a Mustang hubcap. Same theme. And this is one of those rare instances where the Mustang was a lower car than the full-size Ford, but its styling traits, including these hubcaps, moved up from the bottom to the top in the Ford lineup. Kind of cool. But again, this is a 15-inch wheel, I'm pretty sure. And again, a pretty simple piece, but again, Ford full-size, 1967, I would have to say right here. Kind of cool. Getting back to the bow tie right here. This would be about 1971 or 2, full-size Chevrolet. These have been seen on, basic Impalas. Not a bad-looking wheel, kind of a good design. It's one-piece construction with a, look at this, it's actually not even pierced. It's one piece for simplicity. The logo is actually glued in. That's a little aluminum plate that just sticks down, and nicely done. There's no bubbles, but again, it's this model of simplicity right there. And hiding behind it was this thing here, another full-size wheel cover. This one here from about a 1966 or 7 Chrysler Newport. We can see right here it has the Chrysler logo baked into the lucite or plastic center. And again, it seems like it maybe has faded. Yeah, it's faded away. But this, of course, would have been on a 14-inch wheel on a Chrysler Newport 67, maybe 68, something like that. Getting into the Mopar world once again, Dodge division right here. This, of course, is a deluxe wheel cover seen on a 68, 69. Coronet, even Charger had these things. Dodge Darts could be had with this. And it's interesting, too, that Dodge, like some automakers, but mostly Dodge and Plymouth, would share one wheel cover design from the A-body to the B-body. Unusual for a one wheel cover to be seen on the low car and the mid-price cars, but here you could have this deluxe wheel cover on any of them. And I've seen Motor Trend and other road test magazines where these things were on Super Bs in 1969. Kind of a cool thing. I like these. They kind of have a real look, the argent with the black and just the use of tone and shade. Kind of cool. In a fairly complex wheel cover. The center is a die-cast metal piece that screws in. Here's the pilot pin right there to make sure it's indexed properly, but kind of a cool little design right there. Okay, the standard of the world. Here it is, Cadillac right here. And it's kind of a cool deep dish effect. And this maybe is a simulated aluminum brake drum, kind of like what Buick actually had. But again, this would be from like 66 Cadillac Calais, something like that. And again, it's a one-piece device. And I like how there's little punched out holes here to allow some of the heat to get out. But look how deep that thing is right there. All of that airspace right there, just for the effect of the simulated aluminum brake drum. And again, aluminum brake drums were a big deal. In the 1950s, a lot of the General Motors Motorama show cars had these weird rims with big aluminum wheels or drums in the middle. And this is Cadillac emulating that style for you and me to drive every day. But the big old drum brake behind this thing, iron. Oh boy, okay, Buick, once again, the Tri-Shield. Now this one here, it smells like front wheel drive time to me. And again, it's, oh boy, look at this, all the rust on this thing. Even the galvanized metal on this thing, that whitish texture, that's galvanized. Well, it didn't really survive that well. But again, the stainless, the main stamping is still doing okay. But this is Buick. I want to say this is early 80s. Yeah, early 80s. The rear wheel drive Buick, full-size car, 15-inch wheel. But wheel covers like this were shrunken down, same basic design, and used on front wheel drive cars, the J-bodies. And so Buick had a family look and a theme that would be expressed in the wheel covers in smaller and larger versions of it. This is the full-size one used on rear-wheel drive, full-size Buick Electras and stuff like that. Early 80s, that's my guess. Speaking of Buick, Even though this thing's missing the center, this is certainly a Buick wheel cover. I would say 1956, 57, something like that. The center would have a red thing saying Buick right here. And again, one-piece stamping. And again, it's stainless steel, so it'll be beautiful far longer than I am. And then, more Buick right here. Again, it's missing the center, but again, we have Buick Motor Division right there. And this would have been seen like on a 1970 Buick, just a basic Skylark or something like that. These weren't seen on Grand Sports, but I remember seeing these things on wagons and four-door Buick Skylarks kind of everywhere. One-piece stamping, you know, little tiny vents are all the way around. So it's kind of functional, allows some of the air from being trapped inside of there. And again, that heat mostly goes out the back of the wheel, but it's nice. It's a gesture when you have a little stamped hole. So Buick Motor Division 1970, B-body, or A-body, excuse me, midsize. Okay, back to Ford, like this Ford Motor Company. And if you ever watched Hawaii Five-0, Steve McGarrett, the Hawaii Five-0 cop there, he always drove 71 LTDs black with 390s and 428s. And this is the wheel cover that would have been on those cars. These are really cool. These are full-size Ford wheel covers, and it kind of pays tribute to the 69 Lincoln Continental Mark III, I guess it is, with sort of this hat effect right here, almost like a UFO flying through the field of Tennessee or whatever. But again, this is a full-size Ford wheel cover right here, simple piece, lucite center. And so that kind of wraps up the 20th installment of the Hubcap game. But as we saw last time, I'm afraid the games are only getting started. We're having some trouble with our show mascot, Rudolph Dieselhead, who's becoming a bit intimidated by our new mascot, Lockjaw the dog. But it looks like right now, Rudolph is in the driver's seat.